If you're selling on Amazon and you don't know exactly where your profits are coming from, there is a good chance that you are leaking money without even realizing it. In this video, you're about to watch a live webinar I did with Norm from Seller Toolkit, where we go deep into STK 2.0 and the latest updates on the platform. Now, here's the reality. When you're very new, you can sometimes get away with using Seller Central and maybe a spreadsheet. But if you want to scale your Amazon business properly, you cannot scale chaos. And for years, we were selling on Amazon. We didn't really have a clear visibility of our numbers. So we knew we were profitable, right? But we just didn't know exactly which products were making more money and which ones were quietly losing money. So tools like Seller Toolkit really change that. They show you where your profits really are, where the leaks are, and how to manage your inventory properly. So just one quick thing before we start. Because this was originally a live webinar, there is a special offer mentioned in the video that has now expired. But the good news is there is a great offer in the description down below, along with the link to the FBA Navigator community. Totally free, by the way. So check those out. And now let's jump into video.
Or you've been thinking about, should you be repricing? Should you be using some inventory management tool and be tracking your profits? Then you should, right? It's in my opinion, you should be doing this very early in your game because otherwise you're gonna struggle, and you don't want to be scaling chaos. I'm just gonna have to keep letting people in as they come in. So from my point of view, like before we were using STK, like the numbers were a little hazy. I'll be honest, and you don't want to be hazy in your business. You want to know where you're at. So definitely when I got STK, it definitely opened up a lot of, it shone a light on things that we were doing well and we were doing bad. So you really want to know where you're at in your business, especially where you're losing money. So STK definitely changed the game for us. So I'm going to introduce Norm. I've known you, Norm, for maybe getting on for about 4 years now, I think, Norm.
Did that long, well.
Yeah, it flies by, doesn't it? Having fun. So Norm's the founder of STK, and I'm going to introduce yourself, Norm, and and tell us a bit about your origin story, about why STK come about as well.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Navigators. I was a seller. I started in late 2017 when this all became like the new get rich quick thing. I thought it was a get rich quick thing. I bought some products, about maybe £100 worth at the time, and didn't think they would sell. Just give it a try. Another scheme that I'll give it a go. And I was very surprised to see these items sell within a couple of weeks. And I thought, oh, this could be something. This could be something in it. So I immediately, even though I just spent £100, immediately invested £5,000 into the business with stock and VAs and all sorts. And obviously, when you're putting £5,000 in, you're going to grow quite quickly. But one of the things, as Ricky just mentioned, is not, you don't know your numbers. It was all very fuzzy. I don't know whether I'm actually making a profit. I know I'm selling these items, but I had no idea how much money I was making. And that's when I realized that there was no easy way of doing this. There was no such thing as any software out there. There was a couple in America, but they just didn't do VAT. They didn't do anything the way that STK does right now. So I didn't build STK I built it for myself. I'm like I was at the time a full-time IT contractor. I worked for the banks, and I thought, right, I can use my skills to knock something up. It should only take 3 to 6 months, and I'll have a little app that will tell me how much money I'm making. Soon realized when I was building it that this could be for other sellers. So I built it for a wider audience. And within like a few months, I had the basics working for our business, and I could see the true numbers and realized that we were not making anywhere near the money we thought we were making. A lot to do with EFN fees. If people don't know what EFN fees are, is that when you sell something from the UK to, say, France or Germany, your fees are a lot higher than they would be if you were selling UK to UK. And that's something I hadn't even realized was happening, because we just didn't have any view of the KPIs whatsoever. And that showed that although we were making massive sales to Europe, we weren't making anywhere near as much as the money we thought. We were thinking we were making 2 or 3 quid a pop. It was like more like 10 to 20 pence a pop. So that made a huge difference. So STK built, and for what I said, I thought this would take 3 to 6 months to build. It actually took 2 years before I was able to go into beta, which was end of 2019, and go live in March 2020, when we've had our very first lockdown, which I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen? I'm going live when this whole new thing has just come in. How's that going to affect business? And it was the complete opposite of what I thought it would be, because I thought it's going to be slow, and everyone got on Amazon. Everyone was at home. Everyone wanted to try this new Amazon thing. And Amazon was like making a lot of money because everyone couldn't go out and buy. So it really like took off. STK then started taking off. I stopped selling when STK started taking off. That's to do with the fact that at the time I was married and she was the one that was doing the purchasing and looking after the business. We separated, so that business went down the toilet. But I just concentrate on STK now, so I'm no longer a seller. No conflict of interest or anything like that. Just STK, and so STK, has been growing and growing and growing ever since, and thankfully hasn't stopped growing either. But that's the quick story of how STK became. I can't hear you again now. Oh my God.
Yeah, Rick is muted.
Hang on, it's my fault. Yeah. For us, 2020 was obviously interesting times for everybody, and for us, like, we realized like it was a crazy great time in terms of Amazon. Our business literally doubled our revenue in a year, and that was the time you were just getting started. I think I started using STK in 2022. And that's where we really understood our numbers and where we were making mistakes. So, I mean, in terms of like, where do you see most sellers making mistakes, Norm? Because you get obviously a lot of conversations with a lot of sellers. Where do you see them making mistakes?
It really does vary. I mean, early days, the biggest comment was like, and I'm talking 2020, 2021, 2022, the early days, was exactly the same situation I had found myself in. They had not realized how much money they were not making in profit, especially with EFN fees. That was huge. There was a lot of people there. But then when Brexit finally was like, properly signed, and the cross-border thing became a bit more complicated with VAT and stuff, that wasn't such a big issue, because not many people are selling between the UK and Europe to UK. It's either one or the other. Some people are doing it. Those that are VAT registered, and they're now doing fulfillment, where you can send your stock to a fulfillment center and they have to get VAT registered and all that. There's all sorts of new things that Amazon have done to try and get over the border problem. But yeah, that was the biggest thing. One of the biggest things I'm finding right now, and I even just got an email just before I came online, is that people in business should understand how VAT works. I get so many questions about VAT. People just really, really do not understand it. And it's you're running a business. You need to understand how all of the numbers works. And VAT is huge. It can make the difference between a profit and a loss, especially if you do decide to sell, across borders, across the Brexit border. Reimbursements. The thing with reimbursements is that I didn't know where we stood with reimbursements either. And reimbursements, up until probably a year ago, you had up to 18 months to claim a reimbursement, which was long. So people were joining, and then they would download their full 18 months data as far as we could. That's as far as you can go back to get order finance data, because Amazon doesn't keep data beyond those dates, orders and information like that. So for somebody, some people that talk, not everyone comes back and gives feedback. Some people just get on with their life and don't say too much. But the one person, he was able to recover £2,000 within a couple of weeks of joining STK, because you can go back 18 months. However, you can go back now around about 60 days. So if you joined today and you've got your data going back for 2 or 3 months, which you will do with Ricky's link, you may find that you've got some reimbursements owed to you that Amazon haven't paid. Now, you think that Amazon would know how much they owe you. They have all their reporting. They know what they've damaged. They know what customer hasn't returned, the items. They have all that information, yet they don't give you a reimbursement. I don't know whether that's issues with their inventory control. I don't think it is. I think there's some way that they get lost, but I don't know, because the reporting's there. I pull in all of the reports and I collate all of the data to find where those reimbursements are due. I say STK does, right? People aren't going to be getting, well, unless they're big sellers, aren't going to be getting as much as £2,000, but you are going to get back, if depending on how big of a seller you are right now, the bigger you are, the more reimbursements you're owed. So it finds all the reimbursements that Amazon have not paid you by the expiry date. So they've got 60 days to pay you a reimbursement. If they haven't paid you within 60 days or 45 days, depending on which market you're in, then STK flags it and says, right, you need to go and claim this reimbursement. 90% of the time they do reimburse, and it's all, you can see that in the reconciliation STK, what reimbursements have been paid, what have not been paid. So that was another thing that a lot of people found extremely useful, especially, like I say, in the early days when you go back 18 months. A lot of people made more in their reimbursements that they could claim in those 18 months that would pay for 6 months to 1 year of STK subscriptions. It's not as good now, like I say, because you only get 60 days worth, and it will also show, STK will show you what has passed you. It will show you if you've got 18 months data and you've been selling for 18 months, it'll tell you, sorry, you missed out on that reimbursement. Yeah, it's gone over to 60 days. So yeah, it was reimbursements. VAT, I get questioned all the time. I try and put as much as I can do in the FAQs about VAT, but people just honestly don't get that. What else do we get? I get well, in the last few days we had a bit of a problem, so I had a lot of emails about that. But generally, it's stuff that people don't understand about their own profitability, and their business acumen isn't as good as it should be. You are going into business, and if you're going to start on this Amazon journey, learn about business, not just about Amazon selling. You understand how the figures work for you, because another thing on STK is you can put all your expenses in. So it will take all the expenses that you've had to lay out in the last month, whatever, all your sales that have come in, all the other fees. Now there are other fees on top of the sale. You've got your sale price, and then your cost, and then your fees. That's generally what you see, right? And then VAT on fees and VAT if you're VAT registered. But you've also got other fees, and people don't really account for those other fees. And those other fees are the fees that you're going to be paying to ship your items into the fulfillment center, transportation fees, your subscription fees, obviously. And there are just a bunch of other fees that keep coming up on the dashboard. And STK just pulls the fees, pulls the description, and puts them onto the dashboard. And sometimes I look at them at the description, I have no idea what they mean, and I do get questions from people saying, "What's this fee? What's this fee?" They're like, "I made it up," you know. So, you know, yeah. Check your transactions in your Seller Central, you know.
you don't
account,
see all
because
those fees coming out in those orange bars that people show, right? Because all it's showing is those sales, right? When they show the
yes,
orange bar. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you're not seeing the full picture just on
Yeah.
your orders. And what STK is showing on the dashboard, the, obviously the most important is your sales. It's going to show you your sales and your profit on the sales. But you've got then it further down on all the dashboards, you will see somewhere where it says, yeah, here's your sales, but here's less your expenses. You know, your VA expenses, if you've got VAs, uh, um, all the other fees and stuff like that. Everything. So, you know, at the end of the day, you might be making, you know, you're turning over you're selling £10,000 a month. That's probably roughly, it's around about 10% of that would be like a profit on sales. Some people are a lot better. It depends on you know, that's down to you when you're buying. The profit's made in everything you do. The profit is always made in your purchase. So if you say you're making £1,000 sales profit, you go, yeah, that's great. And then you look down at all your other expenses and your other fees, it might come down to like half that, £500. Nothing, you know, that's not bad, but it's £500 and £10,000 worth of sales. So you'll also get a lot of people saying, oh, look at my turnover. I've turned over 500 grand this year, you know.
Yeah.
But what's their true profit? You know, what did you get out of that? Because there's a lot of people can sell £500,000 worth of stuff in a year, and their profit could be like, you know, less than like 30 grand. You know, who knows? You know, they could do that just to get people to join their groups and stuff. Of course, not Ricky, but you know, you have to know your numbers. If you do not know your numbers, you do not know how business works, you do not know how VAT works, you don't know expenses, you're running blind, and you're not going to get anywhere in your business unless you know exactly where you are. And with STK, you know exactly where you are every single minute of the day. Every few minutes, it refreshes your orders. The dashboard automatically refreshes with everything. And so you know exactly where you are. And you can, like, you might see, boom, a loss come in. And you need to get on it. You say, well, why is that a loss? What's happened? You know, so yeah, it's totally automated. There are just a few things that you've got to set up in the settings, and then everything is done for you.
Amazing. Yeah. So talking about the dashboard, okay, if we have a little look around, and you show
Yeah,
us,
sure. So STK has gone. Let me do a share.
so yeah, Ash should put a link there to STK. It's the Navigators link, and Norm will make you an unheard of offer later on. So make sure you use that link to get that offer. Yeah, you should be able to click that's it. Perfect. Awesome.
So STK has gone under a huge transformation in the last couple of months. It was a project of 2 years. It didn't look like this at all, and it didn't have as much functionality. There's a few added things on here. Let me get it up here. Don't know, can you see my mouse?
Yeah, can see that.
Okay,
Yep.
good. So what you used to have, this was I called this Classic Plus. This was the this is a reconstruction of what the dashboard used to look like on STK before STK 2.0, and this is here for those people who find change a little bit too much, and they wanted the old style dashboard. It's a bit cluttered. It's got a lot of information on there, but so this is what I was talking about, like sales. So on the first thing here, what you'll see is now this is a demo account. I'm not trying to show you that I made 21 grand today or 3.5 grand. This is demo. So you've got your have you see like the sales for the day is 21 grand. Yeah. Now I can change that to the full figure or compact. So then you've got your profit on the sales. Now, every every minute there's a new order comes in, and every time a new order comes in, you'll see it pop up in this chart over here, this table here. And that one came in at 6:56, which is just now. And it's like I say, every minute one will pop up, and this will automatically update. You've got your orders, number of orders, everything's set to today at the moment, your margin, number of refunds, all the information, all your KPIs are here. Now, this is the part where I was talking to you about profit and loss on your business. But this has given me for the last 30 days. Now, again, this is just a demo. It doesn't have any other FBA fees. If this was a normal account, other FBA fees, this was a live account. This was my actual real account. So if I just change this to lifetime, you'll see on this over here, it shows a total of 1.2 million. That's what you're left with after profit on sales of 1.2 million. But your other FBA fees there was 13,000. Now that would be a lot more than 13,000 had this not been a demo account. It gives you your profit on reimbursements, advertising costs which come in, virtual assistants, salary, accountancy fees, prep services. So you're left at the top there, the total of what your real profit is. Okay, so that 1.24 million lifetime, you can set the dashboard to anything you want. So we just set to the lifetime.
Just to give you an idea on those other fees, like for us, the last 30 days is 1,155 euros. So if you were looking in Seller Central, you may not know those fees are even there.
Correct. That is the problem. So yeah, see, so just on this demo account, you see the turnover on sales was just under 8 million, 7.7 million, with a gross profit of 1.2. It just changed again because another order came in, 57.58. So you're going to just, that's what I mean. But you're getting up to the minute. Every time an order comes in, this dashboard changes and you can see what's going on. You've got a quick view of every order here. You've got these links, which I'll go into a little bit later for each order. This gives, I think, the last 60 orders, if I remember rightly. And there's another one, 59. And all of these figures, all of these tables are changing dynamically as soon as a new order comes in. You've got inventory by disposition, so you've got your actual unit costs in total, your potential profit in total. So there's everything here that you need. These other dashboards are something's happened. Great with demos.
Mine's all good. It's all working. So it's just a demo account.
Yeah, it is great. But this is the internet here. Internet looks good. This only happens when you don't need it.
On a live, yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen. When I do a refresh, no difference. Oh no, it's come back. Goodness knows. So yeah, so we have 4 different types of dashboards. So like I said, there's the classic, which is got everything on it, and you've got a chart, which is just charts. You still have these KPIs like the ROI, the margin, just 2 circles showing the same information. Again, it's all pretty much the same information, but displayed to you differently. And then you have it by market, so you know whether you're selling, look, a few in Spain, mostly in UK. You've got daily profits. Each one of these tables and charts can have individually, can change them individually. They don't last more than a few minutes when they're changed. You've got complete control over here. You can even do custom dates. Then you have a table chart, which is very much the same. It's exactly the same as the chart dashboard. Everything's in the same place, but instead of being chart form, it's just in table form. So you can quickly look at any particular month and see how much that month was, as opposed to the chart, which is monthly. And then you can see from the chart, and just by hovering over anything to see some stuff, your sales. And we've got a time series. Now,
there's
this
a ton of
time
data
series,
here. I just want to cut in Norm. So there's so much information for you guys that are just starting or you're new to selling and you haven't seen
I'm
anything like this.
overwhelming you. I
Yeah,
know.
there's a lot of data, but the thing is, like, Norm's showing you all the different ways you can look at this data because you want to understand your numbers. So I'm still on the classic view most of the time, Norm, I'll be honest, like, because I'm just so used to it many years.
That was that's just it. You know, people are reluctant to change, so I just got to, like, you know, get everyone to over. But it doesn't really matter. You know, it's what's most important is that you're comfortable with what you're looking at. Yeah. So what actually happened? I just had chart table time series. Now, Classic didn't exist on day one when we went live on. I think it was the 5th of January. I think it was. I can't remember. And everyone was going, "Oh, I don't know where I am. I need Classic. I need the old chart. I need the old dashboard." So I spent a couple of days knocking up Classic Plus, which is very similar to STK 1, and just to, like, you know, get back on everyone's favour. These are quite good for doing some comparisons. For instance, is your profit over 7 days, and 30 days, and 90 days, and 12 months? And again, you can change these to, you know, anything you want. 14 days, yeah, previous month, last 12 months. So you can just see a comparison, like everything. It's done in the spreadsheet form. So you've got, like, the columns and the rows. So you've got profit, sales, units, orders, ROI, margin, refunds, the other fees, which we were just talking about, your reimbursements, which we were just talking about, and then your payouts from Amazon. Your payout from Amazon is how much they've paid out to you, which is essentially your sale price minus fees and VAT. So that's a quick view of the dashboard. But some of the things that we always had top sellers in STK 1.0, but it was on the dashboard. It was a bit clunky being on a dashboard, so just been moved to its own menu area. So what we did, as well as just the dashboard, we made this is going to be difficult for you to understand because you never saw 1.0, but we made everything look the same. So no matter what screen you're on, you always have now this top menu bar, which we call a list header. And everywhere you see this list here, we call this the link menu, because what this does is, for this SKU, you can bounce around from here. So you could, if you wanted to, do a dashboard. So this is the dashboard, but it's just for that SKU. So it's exactly the same as the other dashboards. You've got the classic, the chart, the table, and the time series, but it's just for that SKU. You can see your details for that SKU, or you can do it by ASIN. And the idea is that you can just really, like, just flick around. And this is like for the Repricer. It's also all the price changes that have occurred. You'll see, look, 16th November 21, that date. So that was the last time we were selling stuff. So this is, you'll see this if you have the Repricer or you don't have the Repricer. If you have the Repricer, it will tell you more details about the Repricer. If you don't have the Repricer, it's just information coming from Amazon about your current price. This here gives you a list of all the markets you're selling in and what the fees are. If you look down here, so for instance, UK, if you look at the fees there, for this item, it's 346. But if I was to sell this item in Germany, the fees would be 11, and that's what I was telling you about earlier about like the fees can be extortionate when you're selling EFN items. So that's something that you really need, you know, to be on top of if you do start selling cross-border. One of the things about this here as well is you can do calculations. For instance, if you said, look, I want to make a minimum profit of $1, let's make sure it works. Yeah, so you said, sorry, no, $1, £1. If you want to make it a profit of £2, over here you'll see the price change. See that price was 11. You guys just keep an eye on that price there. If I said I want a profit of 3, oh, let's go to 300. That was wrong. I'd have to sell it for 452. So these are nice calculators. You can just say, well, what happens if I just done a 10% ROI? You could sell it at £9.24. So that's one calculator. You've got another calculator which does pretty much the same thing here, and I can override anything again. If I want to make £5 profit, it will give me the sale price there, 1703. I can, if I said, okay, well, what happens if my unit cost goes up to £5? Does that still work? You know, so you can just play around with these figures again in STK. There's a chart button which will give you the charts again, so you can either quickly go to the dashboard, or you've got the charts here for the last 90 days or 12 months. Again, you can quickly change this if you wanted to. I'll come back to that one again. I'll come back to this one a bit in a minute. This is listing. That's pretty cool. You can click on the shipments, and that's going to give you all the shipments that SKU was sent in. All this information, reconciliation. Now, this is not going to work on all SKUs in here because it's demo. I'll come back to reconciliation again in a minute. You can see your cost of goods that you have set up over the term of this SKU. You have cost of goods, which again is first in, first out COGS, something that no other app does. In other words, you get a new COG for every shipment. So every shipment that you send a SKU in, you could well have paid the same amount of money for that item, or you may not have done. So therefore you have another COG created. So the COG is automatically populated with the last price you paid, but you then go in and change that price if it's a different price. And what STK does, it works out how many items you've sold. If you've sent in 10 items in shipment 1 and 20 items in shipment 2, when the 10 are depleted, it shifts over to your new COG, your new price. So that's very, it's handy, saves you a lot of work. A lot of apps, you then have to like try and work out when you sold 10. And sometimes you don't know you sold 10 because you might sell 5 in one go, haven't realized your COG's changed, but you now need to go in and manually change that COG rather than just setting your COG at the time that you purchased the item. It's
so important. It's really important.
That again, it was like, you know, I built STK based on how I wanted things to work in my business, because I didn't want to be like chasing COGs. COGs, I think, is probably the worst job. I think everybody hates doing COGs, and as soon as you get a VA, get them to do your COGs, because it's just, you know, there are other ways. I mean, we are partnered with 2 apps, which is SellerAmp and Arbisource, and with SellerAmp and SaaS, this is where you source your items and you purchase them based on information on SaaS and Arbisource. And when you purchase them in SaaS or Arbisource, you can then send your price that you've paid to STK. So you don't have to enter it twice. You don't have to enter it into SaaS and then into STK. You can export them from SaaS and Arbisource. Again, all this information, you know, is available if you need it. So all of these things in the link bar are just quick links for you to see anything about this SKU.
Well, that cost of goods, I just want to add to that, Norm, because like the great thing about STK is it can grow with you as well. Like, as you see all these different markets, like we sell in currently 6 different markets. We did sell in 10 different markets. And we have shipments coming in currently from 5 different countries, right? And there may be, you know, shipments coming in 5 a day, or there may be, you know, 2 a day from different countries. So it's important for us to upload the COGS, cost of goods. It's just the price of the product that you pay for, right? If anyone doesn't understand that, important to upload, because we may be sending 2 units in from Germany and we couldn't get any more in Germany. So, and then we found 14 in Spain. So then we're sending, and they might be 20 euros in Germany and 15 in Spain. So we've got all these different prices coming in all the time. And I've tried other softwares that didn't do first in, first out, and it's just impossible. There's no way we can keep track. We'd have to keep averaging, but we're averaging every day, and then you just lose it. There's no way you can do it otherwise.
Yeah, it's totally impossible to like average, because you've either got average over the lifetime of the SKU, or if you try and do it on a monthly basis, you've then got a very complicated calculation. And even that kind of blows my mind how you do that, but people are doing it somewhere.
Yeah.
Notepad. This is by ASIN, so you can keep notes. Yeah, save the note, and then you'll see that anywhere you're looking at the SKU, you can say, have I got any notes? And it's very good for VAs and yourself to keep notes on here. Some links to the listing on Amazon. This is the link to SAS, which then, we're not looked in, which gives you details of this particular item. RB source, it won't work on here. Yeah, it's got no data available. What would normally come up there is that it would do a reverse search for that ASIN, and it would tell you all the stores that you and the price that item would be in those stores. So you can then just go straight to those stores, buy that item. We put a Keeper link in here as well. Should you use Keeper? It was quite a simple ad. But what is also interesting, and not a lot of people do know this, is that you can change your layout. Now, if we go to inventory, there's quite a lot of information on inventory. And so you've got this scroll bar which goes across. And some people are just not interested in knowing all of that information. So what you can do with the layout is decide what order you want to see this information in. So if I wanted to say I want to see units ordered refunded first, I could just move that, and I didn't want to see sales performance, for instance, and then do a save. It's just got rid of that information. You've got the units ordered there. It's been moved to the front, and the other box is gone. You can change how you view. So you've got native scroll, which is just showing you the back and forward. You can fix the description column. So this description stays the same, and then you're just scrolling here. You can button click, so you're not you haven't got a scroll bar at all. You can do it by a button. You can wrap them, but there's nothing to wrap because there's not enough columns.
This may all seem a bit too much, but the thing is, in this business, like you sellers that have been around for a while, it's about speed and getting that information as quickly as possible. Because if you've got 100 today, you just want to see what you want to see.
Yeah, and the thing is that what happened is that the inventory on STK 1 was very simple. I mean, we had everything there, but not absolutely everything. And what happened is that we kept getting calls for, can we see this? Can we see that? We want to see this, want to see that. Now, obviously, not everybody wants to see the same things on the same listings. So that's why we created this customization. And if you went to your mobile phone, when you're on your mobile phone, you'll do mobile behavior. So the default will automatically it says use scroll mode, but it doesn't. It goes to stack, but you can click on. So you would wait until you're on the mobile, and wherever you set these settings, it's defined for that one device or that one browser. If you move to another browser, you could set up, or your laptop or whatever, your PC, if you're on a different device, you can set up your own customization for that device, for that account. So you don't have to see the same things on all accounts. So you could have your mobile, especially for orders, for instance, if you go to orders, you may just want to see the order details. Hang on, let's see, what would you want to see? You want to see the profit and loss, and that's about it, wouldn't it? Maybe. So
you definitely don't need all that info, otherwise it's just too long on the mobile.
You don't need, yeah. You wouldn't want all that. Just do a save, and then you just got the description and that. So if that was on your phone, they'd be stacked one underneath, and that's all you need to see on your phone. Whereas if you're on your PC, you may as well see the lot or whatever you want to see.
I've got a question about this from Emmanuel. So Manny's saying, does STK have an app? Or
STK is a web app, so it's you can view web apps, and it acts very just like an app on a phone. So a web app is you always go via your browser. It works exactly the same. And one of the things with STK 1.0 is that there was so much information that some pages could not be shown on a mobile. For instance, the inventory by disposition, which I showed you earlier, which shows you where all your inventory is, how much it's currently worth, how much it can currently sell for. That was too big to show on some smaller phones. So it just said, sorry, can't show. So that was another reason why STK 2.0 came along, because we had to make sure that it was responsive for all, so you can view it on a tablet, you can view it on a mobile phone, and it will always be the same. It's not going to be an issue. Some of this quick view here, so you've got, it always defaults to 30 days. You've got these KPIs at the top here, which you can hide if you don't want to see them, which gives you the details for the last 30 days. You can change it today. It's going to give you today's figures. So you can be choosing. You could also do, if you wanted to, if I just copy and paste that SKU and put that in the search bar. Now it's giving me, not there were 5 orders, 5 units, a profit of 9.29 on that SKU today. Yeah.
I love this. I really love this because, you can really check very, very quickly, how much you're making on a certain product, because you may have an idea, but before you would have had to pull off a report, you would have had to analyze the report. Whereas now, like, I can just go type in Nike and see what we've sold in Nike and or put in the ASIN or the SKU there. So it's really,
so it's not just, you can put anything in here. It's put in that part of the title. There's only one thing for that title, but Barbie, that's yesterday one, but then I could do last 30 days, and you've got different Barbie sets.
And you can really see what's giving you the bang for your buck in your business quickly. Right?
Absolutely. And there's some great new stuff coming. I know we're going to come onto that later, but we will come onto that later. But what I want to show you, which I really like, and this has been ready for 3 years, but I have not been able to put it live because we were working on STK 2.0 for 2 years and it wasn't ready to go live. And I don't know if you've seen this, Rick. Have you gone through all of these?
Go on. What?
This?
What are you doing then, Nom? I can't see what you're doing.
Why? You can't see it? Oh, no, hang on. I know why. Because
you're in stealth mode.
I moved to another tab. You should see it now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, listing for SKU.
Okay.
You seen that?
No, I didn't check that.
No. Right. See, this is something I think a lot of people have not seen yet, even though it's on the link menu there. People aren't clicking it, and it's a video that I want to put together and send out to everyone. What you've got here is a playback of what's happened to your offer. So if I go like this, these are the old-fashioned play buttons that you used to get on your video recorder or whatever, right? So you've got up to 100 moves. So this is showing 1 of 100, and it gives you the time that what the listing looked like on the 25th of Feb at 9:44 a.m. And you'll have a blue flash here to show your offer. It says that they're your offer. And you will have a green tick for the buy box. There's no buy box at the moment. Oh no, sorry, there is a buy box. It's your offer. So it's just got the blue flash, no green flash. Now you can step forward one by one if you wanted to, and just see what's actually happening to your offer. Now, if you look at your offer now, has gone from, it was a buy box. It's still buy box at 740, but that will change. One of the 737s will get it, unless your offer changes. So your offer is still at 740. What you'll also notice is that what we do, which is pretty unique, we detect repricers. So if we come on to the repricer later, this is a good reason why you need to have a repricer, because you'll see that most offers on a listing have a repricer. Here's one down here that doesn't have a repricer because they want to save money, but they're saving money and therefore not making sales. So you can then just put it in play mode if you want, and it will just go through each of them. So it's 9 of 100, 10 of 100, and you'll see the listing change over time. Not much happening there. Some of it's happening below the cut-off line down here.
I'm just checking mine right now. I never saw that.
You didn't know about it, did you?
No.
So it gives you the green arrows, like, you know, somebody's moved up. Red arrows, somebody's moved down. Like your offer. See, things are starting to change now. So.
So how far back is this going, Norm?
100 moves. So that 100 moves could be a week, depending on some SKUs, or it could be just like an hour, right? I might increase it to more, because the reason why this hadn't gone live is because it's very resource intensive. And I didn't know how it was going to work, because and I don't do it for all markets. It's just your home market. So you'll just see it for your Spanish market.
Yeah.
This is so they're things that I would, you know, expand to if there's a real call for it. You want to see how it's working across all your markets. But this is really important, because this is how you decide how your repricer works. It also proves one of my points I've always said about how things are repriced. And this is right from the start, when I first started selling and started seeing, taking the information from my account, watching the reprice on those and put them into spreadsheets and doing a lot of analysis, is that feedback, and a lot of people think feedback, it doesn't really make a lot of difference on buy box rotation. And I proved that many times. And one thing I will say, why, one of the biggest reasons, look at the feedback of some of these. Look at this. Let's stop. That feedback there is 152,000. Yeah, this guy's got the same. It's the same seller ID. He's got 2 listings. He's got 3 listings. 152,000 here as well. 4. That wonder if it's a bug. And then your listing is 146, which has the buy box 146. Okay, and so if you were a new seller, you'll have no feedback, but you'll still sell stuff because you will still get the buy box. So the idea of people going around, and I've seen this on YouTube a lot, especially in the early days, that it's to do with feedback. I've seen absolutely no evidence of that. Certainly, if you've got issues with Amazon, you won't be eligible for the buy box. So if your account has been part suspended, not fully suspended, and that's something else Ricky will tell you about account suspensions. But if your account is suspended, sure, you can't sell anything, it's stopped. But you can have kind of like health warnings. And if you've got like a certain number of bad points on your account, they won't let you have the buy box. So you'll still be selling, but you wouldn't be allowed to have the buy box. You might have the lowest price, but you won't be the featured offer on Amazon. And that is where feedback comes into it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, very low down on the list, right?
yeah, you'd have to be really bad, and then you're not even allowed to get the buy box. So actual feedback for buy box rotation, no evidence whatsoever for that. What it is, and it says this on the Amazon listing itself. Let's go back.
And just want to make another point. You made a really great point that you can see the repricers there, other people that have got repricers. And then Norm said, look, and there's someone there that doesn't have a repricer. They think they're saving money, right? Because this is a big thing, right? When should I get a repricer? They think they're saving money, but they're losing out so much because they're not getting the bloody sales.
Yeah.
So they're saving, you know, whatever it is, 30 quid a month, but you know, they're not getting the freaking sales, so they're losing potentially hundreds.
Exactly
yeah.
that. If you're not competing, you're not getting to get a sale. It's ludicrous to get into this business, and like, you don't go, when you go again. This is more for you, Ricky, to say about business, but from my perspective, if you're going to go all in, you know, give it a try. I mean, yes, I gave it 100 quid. But as soon as I gave it 100 quid and proved it worked, I went all in at 5 grand. And even 5 grand might not sound a lot of money to some people who decided to put in 20 grand, right? But I proved that it worked. But then I had to make sure I understood the business fully, because 5 grand at the time was still, you know, a hell of a lot of money. I'd actually given up work. I'd stopped working and said, I'm not going to do work anymore. I'm going to do something else. I put myself in a corner. This is quite a well-known story, but not for today. So I knew I had to do something, and something came along. You know, I gave up absolutely everything to change my life. So I don't know, where was I? Yeah, about knowing a business. If you're running a business and you're running it scared, like you've only got, I've only got £200 to put into this business, and you're saying, well, I need that full £200 to buy products, and not have software to tell you how much you're making, and not have software to reprice your products, you're kind of like kicking yourself. You know, you're almost wasting your time unless you can be at that computer changing prices every few minutes. I mean, look, as we can see, look. That last price was at 12.56. The price before 12.53. The price before 12.41. The price before 12.36. It's changing every few minutes. You couldn't do that manually. You've got another job to do. You've got other things to do. This is going to be a side hustle until it's built big enough for you to say, that's enough. I can do this full time, or I need to get VAs. You need to invest in the products that are going to help you keep on top of your business and help you sell your products. So yeah, so for this, like this, every like, apart from 2 sellers, apart from 2 offers are running with a repricer, you've got no chance of selling that product unless you have a repricer. And so, you know, I don't get me wrong, I understand what it's like when you're starting a new business on a budget and you don't want to spend out. There are times that I don't want to spend out on things today, softwares that we're using for marketing and things, and you go, ooh, you know, because some of these things can be very expensive. But if I'm not marketing, if I'm not spending money on my business, I'm going to fall behind myself. So you know, you just need it. It's difficult to, like, for me to say, yeah, try it. I've seen people. I've been to a few conferences. I've been on stage at a few conferences, as Ricky has as well, and I have heard people saying, do I need a repricer? Not to me, somebody else on stage, and I say, well, not at first, maybe not at first. Or do I need software? No, maybe not at first. And you think, that's so wrong. Now, I don't know why anybody would say that, but they do. And you know, yes, on your first sales, you don't have to get this absolutely day one. You really don't. But when you start seeing some sales and you start thinking, hang on, there is something in this, I do like it, I am enjoying it, then get the software. Most softwares, you know, we give free trials anyway. You know, no credit card required. You can get on there for 14 days. We've got a better offer coming up later, we'll discuss. But you should have one. You should have software. You should have a repricer.
You got to think about it like, you know, it's not just an expense, right? Because an expense is just something you're going to buy and it's just going to sit there. You're not going to get anything from it. But if you are spending a certain amount a month, but then, you know, you can actually see that it's making you so much a month, and purely you're not going to keep up with everyone else. If you haven't got a repricer, like Norm was saying, you know, everyone else has, or almost everybody. So there's no way you're going to change your prices once or twice a day, and it's going to be a nightmare once you've got more than 30 SKUs anyway. If you're going to do this, then yeah, you know, very early on, in my opinion, I used to say, like, when you get to 50 SKUs, you know, get a repricer. But now I'm like, do it earlier, because you're going to make more if you set it up right. So yeah, cool. Do you want to tell everyone that offer now, Norm? We're sort of you know, we're a bit in, we've still got a bit to go, but what are you going to offer people?
So using Ricky's Navigator link, normally it would be 14-day free trial and 30% off your first payment. What we're doing for this is to give a 50% off your first payment and a 30-day free trial, which essentially means you're getting 2 months of STK, basic, not Repricer, 2 months for the price of £16 something. So virtually nothing.
No brainer.
Yeah, what's that?
Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, appreciate that that offer, Norm. And that Norm doesn't do that. I twisted his arm earlier for you guys. So make sure you
it's true. It's very true.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, right. What we got to go on to next, Norm?
Well, I was going to show you the reconciliation. To be honest with you, I am not sure. Here's a reimbursement screen, which, again, these are real reimbursements that we have had on our account when we were live. So look at that figure for reimbursements. That's true. That is nothing. That is not fake. It's not demo. Nearly £16,000 reimbursed. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that STK found all of those. Some of those would have been made anyway, but a good 10% would not have been found. So £1,500 could have just gone to Amazon, lost.
I never checked that before on mine, like on the full lifetime view. 80,000 euros.
Yeah.
80 grand.
So you've got to be on top of it. Yeah, it's something you need on top. And then you from the top listing here, you can do all those that made a profit and those that made a loss. Now, what's a loss? And what's a profit when it comes to reimbursement? Well, when you're reimbursed, you're being reimbursed for an item that Amazon have lost or damaged. And so what happens here, if you look at this very first line, you'll see Amazon reimbursed £6.58, but the unit actually cost £8.67. Now, if you take the VAT off of that £8.67, which is £1.25, I'm still left with an 84p loss on that item. So Amazon decide how much you get reimbursed, not you. It's Amazon. Amazon say this is a fair price for that product. So you will make a lot of losses. Now, again, look, over the lifetime, it was £330 loss, which is, you know, it's palatable, I guess. You could spend hours arguing with Amazon support, your Seller Central support, but is it really worth it for such a small amount of money? Sometimes no. I mean, even if you were buying high-end items, you know, you're paying £500 for an item, and they reimburse you £200, then of course you're going to have to, like, say, hang on a second, and try and claim that more money from Amazon. People do. You can go to Amazon in your Seller Central account and say, hey, this isn't enough. You might get told to do one, or they might increase it, but it's very rarely they're going to increase it to the point where you're making a profit. But most of them,
those days are gone, right? They used to.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, look at this customer not returned, right? So that was 28th of Jan 22. A real item, like, so it got the order, the SKU, the title, one unit. Amazon reimbursed 726. It only cost us 653 less our £1 VAT. So it cost us 553. So we made a profit on that. So Amazon paid us more. So yeah, I don't know. I've personally, I haven't suffered that because I'm not selling anymore. But I have heard, Ricky, the same as you, that they're just not paying out the right amounts anymore. So we don't know where they get their figures from, but if that's the figure that they come up with, they come up with a fair value. So who knows? Yeah. Reconciliation. Now the only problem is, oh, I know I have got someone here, and I set some up. Right. For every SKU, you'll have this panel, and it will tell you what your reimbursements and your COG and your VAT and your loss and profit amount, and it gives you also an estimated owed amount here on this item. It's 566, and that's because we've got here a pending reimbursement. Now I can show, well, if I click on the reconcile dashboard, it's going to open the dashboard up for this particular ASIN, and it's got all of this information here, everything that you need to know about what's going on with your stock. So you'll see up here the quantity of 2 in the total. So at the very top, you've got your reimbursements by disposition. So you can get reimbursed for customer damaged, carrier damaged, Amazon warehouse damaged, lost inbound, all these categories down here. And then what we decide here in STK decides how many units, these are units, are in that category, and then how many units have been reimbursed. And then you have over here pending. If it's pending, like I said earlier, 9 times out of 10, it will be paid, and that pending will disappear, and you will end up with 1 reimbursed here. But if it goes over to 60 days, 45, 60 days, it will go into the overdue, and you'll see 1 in overdue. And let's see if we can find one that's overdue. We can just do a click on here for all those that are overdue. So this one's overdue here. Click on here, and it's saying, like, so here's this one item is overdue. You need to claim, and you'll get a notification to say, hey, you've got an item overdue, you need to claim. And what you do is you click on here, and it gives you a template of what to send Amazon. The one thing is, though, that something I need to look at is that how you raise these cases changes all the time, and Amazon make it extremely difficult for you to raise a case in this way. We used to send these when I first put this template together. This template's been together since day 1. So, well, what did I say? So 6 years. Well, so it's been exactly the same. And when everyone was getting STK, they were sending this template in, and Amazon got wise to that, and they then changed things in the way we were able to claim very, very quickly. Within a few months, they got wise to this template being used by hundreds of people for hundreds of SKUs. And I think with a lot of other softwares that are out there now, well, which are manual softwares where people actually do the claiming for you, they're just getting to the point now that they're making it extremely, extremely difficult for you to raise a case. They've just made a big change at the moment. It's been going through with another seller at the moment, and so this has to change. And at the moment, I don't know what, but it does give you the information that you need to input into a case into your Seller Central account when you do a support case. You've got an inventory statement, and this works just like a bank account. So, you know, what was shipped, sent in, your balance, your running balance. This should always end up with 0 at the end, which it does. Total 0 means everything's good.
I just want to add something on about the cases there, Norm. So yeah, it is getting more challenging. And what we do is, you know, we've taken a template like that, and then we try and perfect it over time. We try and get better and better. So we'll be tracking every case that we win and that we lose, and we'll be using a bit of AI, a bit of ChatGPT, and asking that, you know, to act as a Amazon, you know, associate working for Amazon, and try and get ahead a little bit. And then if something works, like, then we'll keep using that, right? And then if it stops working, then we'll just switch things around a little bit to see what will
Yeah,
win.
that's a great idea. It is a great idea. I need to talk to a few sellers, maybe you as well, Ricky, about this, about how you're doing it at the moment, because what used to work, like I said, doesn't work anymore, and I need to find a way so that I can let sellers know, because that's something else that I get asked about. And I was having a conversation on Facebook the other day. I think it might be yesterday actually, going through this. And I opened up my account, so I've still got my seller account, nothing in there, but I keep it just so I can like have a look around. And I tried everything to try and raise a case, and it just was, I was just going around in circles, pulling my hair out. So we need to find a better way. So yeah, you've got lots of information. It's something you get used to. All your reimbursements for that SKU is a bit like the other screen. It gives you all the orders there where that were refunded, so your refunded orders. It tells you how many units refunded, how many units were returned, how many units were not returned, and how many units were reimbursed. You've got a green tick on each one because one unit was refunded, nothing ever returned, but Amazon reimbursed us. So there's a lot of information. Again, it might seem very overwhelming when the place that you are now, if you're not currently selling, but it will become second nature once you start looking at this and realizing, you know, there's a lot to learn. Like I said, it's a business, but nothing is difficult. You are just at the end of the day, in simple terms, buying and selling. Yeah, but you've got a business to run. Expenses, this is where you would add your own expenses, choose what the description is, how much it is, whether it's recurring, start date, end date, and then it would just create a statement for you. So you can see all your expenses over time with a running balance. Again, you can set this to any term you want.
And it's important, this guys, to track your.
Yeah.
It's very important to track all your expenses. Like Norman's been saying multiple times, treat it like a proper business. You might start this side hustle, but as soon as you start treating it like a proper business, the sooner your business will start, you know, treating you well. Take care of it, and that is really adding all your expenses in there from day one. If you can do this from day one, you know, or very early on, treat it properly, add in all your cogs, you know, add in all your expenses, then you'll really start to see the difference, right? A lot of people just treat this, they just buy more products, but they don't realize that they're just creating such a mess to deal with, and it turns into chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the overwhelm sometimes can be too much, but you know, if you want to be successful in the business, don't expect to just sit down and watch TV every night. You've got to run a business. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim's saying, do you need to add in the fees from Amazon and the postage fees to Amazon?
No, you don't. They come up in your other fees as transportation costs. Are you talking about the fees that you are charged when you're sending your stock into the fulfillment center? Is that what you mean?
I believe so, right, Tim? Shipping fees to Amazon.
Yeah,
and all the other fees will be calculated there as well.
Yeah, they're just fees that come through. Whatever you see on your Seller Central account, all your transactions, anything that's not order based will be categorized as other fees, and you'll see them as other fees. So every single one of those fees, and sometimes you get credits, they're not such a fee, but they're showing other fees even when they're credits.
Basically, everything on Amazon, it will show up here, Tim. So you'll just be adding in your expenses, your cogs, any other expenses you want to add in there as well.
Yeah, so sorry, I should have said that these are external expenses, external from Amazon. So exactly. So if you driving a van and you're doing retail arbitrage and driving around, you've got petrol charges, car charges. So you could put them in as expense as well if you wanted to show see the full picture.
Tim saying, thanks. Awesome. Thanks, Uncle Norm. That's your family. Tim
You're welcome, Cuz. Okay. Feedback. Again, you only ever see feedback rating of 1, 2, and 3. Amazon doesn't provide feedbacks for or ratings that are good ratings. Like I think it's 5 is the top. So I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 is neutral, 2 ain't so good, and 1's really bad. And then you just got to like. I don't think you have to worry too much about these days, do you, Ricky? I think it's all pretty much automated, isn't it? It was automated towards the end of when I was selling, where you didn't have to chase and ask Amazon to take this off your account. It kind of like happens almost automatically. Do you
No,
find that or not?
we still need to try and
Really?
remove it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I didn't realize. So you still, okay. So what you do here, again, you'll get an alert to say you've had some bad feedback. You click on this link, it takes you to your Seller Central account where you can just get it removed.
Yeah.
Alert history. This is all you've got. Your alerts up here, which come up here. You can just mark them as deleted and delete all. Even if you delete it, you'll still be able to see your alert history here. Every single alert going back a couple of years. So if you ever wanted to catch up with something and say, "Oh, hang on, what happened to that SKU?" You know, or did I get an alert for that shipment? So you can just do a search in there, and it'll take you to all the alerts that you ever had for that SKU or that ASIN or the order, shipment. You know, so you've got SKU, ASIN, order, shipment here. Yeah, for instance, so I could just say, "Give me all the alerts I've had for that SKU." Yeah, just the one, and it's a reconciliation issue. So you could click that SKU, and that will take you to reconciliation within STK for the SKU, so you can have a quick look. Message history. We've got in-app messages now, which are basically the email. So if you receive an email to your email account, you'll also see it in here. So, you know, the emails from your alerts there. And again, even if you delete them from here, you'll still have a full history of every email that's been sent to you in this history. So, and you won't be able to delete them. They're always there. So if anybody says, "Well, I didn't know that," because, well, go look at your messages.
Quick one from Ali. Ali's asking, does STK automatically connect with Seller Central when you log in, or do you have to put in all the details manually?
No, what you do, the onboarding process for any app is that you have to go through a process where you connect. So when you join STK, you go through the connection process, and you just do that once. So you're there. So you have to give Amazon authorization for STK to access your Seller Central account. And it doesn't access your Seller Central account like as in you can see what you see on the web. This gives access so that we can request information. So through the API. So Amazon have an API called the SP API, Seller Partner API. And so we just have calls that go into Amazon, into their engine to pick data, inventory data, order data, you know, things like that, fees. So you just connect once. It's not, you connect through your Seller Central account, but it's not really your Seller Central account that we're linked to. We're linked to the back end of Amazon.
Yeah, literally every time you go into STK, it'll update, Ali. You'll just literally, you don't need to do anything. It'll all refresh automatically all the time.
Yeah. So exactly, you're turned off. You turn it off or turn it. You know, log in the morning. Everything's there. It's churning and building all your data, all your orders. When you're sleeping and eating, you don't
exactly. And you'll probably do like me, and you'll just bookmark it on your home screen. So you'll just have, you just click there, and it would just be straight on to you just check it any time of the day. Yeah. Cool. Cheers, man.
Users, I'm not going to click on that because I've got user information there, which has not been blurred out. You can have up to 5 users. To be fair, there is no restriction. You know, I've always said it's 5 users, but people have got loads of VAs. Some people have got 20 users on their account. It doesn't really make that much difference to the processing. But you can add your VAs, your partners, if they needed access, even your accountant sometimes. So I know some people that have connected their accountant to STK. You just go to users, set up a login for those users, and they have access to your account. You then can give them permissions. Like Seller Central has the same thing. So you can allow some of your VAs or partners to look at your Seller Central account with their own login details, but they'll have different permissions. In other words, I could set up a user that can only look at, say, feedback. Yeah, that's their job. They only look at feedback. If they try to go into the dashboard or top sellers or anything like that, it'll say access denied, access denied. So you give them the permissions you want to do, and you can give them view access or view and edit access. So and talking of which, I'm just going to do something here. This is something you can do. Like if ever you get to the stage where you are videoing and you want to show something on your account, but you don't want to see your details, you can just do this blur and update. And what happens, you can see, even if I type something in the search box there, it would be blurred out. Again, on inventory, so you'll see that everything's blurred out, so nobody can see. So you can take a video picture and put it onto Facebook or whatever you want to do, but can't see your details. You just want to show somebody something. But what I want to show you was this security center. So I had to blur first. So security center, you'll see all the sessions, all the login sessions, and you'll get the username. So you can see when your VA is logged in, where they logged in from. You can see most of mine, Europe, Bucharest, some in London. I've got a couple of developers that are in, they're not coming up here. Oh, look, Asia. He's traveling Asia, South African guy traveling Asia and working for me. And I've got another guy here from Bucharest as well working on here. So you can have full view of when they're logged in. You can obviously take these, if you've got a VA that's been, you've sacked, you just take them off or ban them or whatever. You've got a report audit as well. So this will give you a list of all the users. Again, they're blurred out. What report they downloaded, when they downloaded, did they just request it or did they view it? Yeah, so you can see that they viewed it, requested it, and you can also see if they downloaded it. So you'll know if anybody's been in your account and taken a look at any of your reports. It gives you the IP address of where it was coming from. You'll see all these 0.0, this means it's local. So I was, it's just from when I was doing testing on my local machine. What else we got? In-app purchases. Oh, access denied. That's what you'll see when you're not allowed. So in-app purchases is where if I didn't have access denied here on this particular user account, you'd see where you can purchase more download data. As your new sellers, you probably wouldn't need that because you're already going to get 3 months of data with this offer. Normally it's just 1 month, you get 3 months. That's something I forgot to mention. And you also would come here to subscribe to the Repricer. And again, the Repricer, you have 14 days free trial on the Repricer. But yeah, don't sign up to the Repricer straight away because you use up your 14 days. You need to just sign up to the Repricer when you have items that are going in for sale, and you find yourself now you are having to type in the price, and you can see on that listing that you're not getting the buy box. Think about signing up. You probably won't need it in your first 14 days, but I would definitely think you'd need it within a couple of months, or as Ricky said, once you get to a point where you've got 30 SKUs, you're going to become overwhelmed trying to change price on 30 SKUs on a daily basis, and then come home to find you've not made any sales because somebody else is continually running the buy box.
Just one thing, Tim's just mentioned a comment. I was waiting to ask this one, Tim. He's saying, can you show us where the request to review bit is? I've been showing the guys in the Discord. Have you all set up your request to review?
Okay.
Yeah, you almost showed it earlier.
Yeah, settings. Okay, so what you got quite a lot of settings. So these are partners that we have. So you got partner link tokens, your invoice details. So these are the details that will show on your invoice from STK, but it also show on your invoice that you have to produce for business sellers. That's something that not a lot of people probably know about. If you're VAT registered and you're registered with VAT calculations with Amazon, you don't have to worry about producing invoices. But if you have an order from a business customer, it's your responsibility, and you do have to. You will get like a health issue on your account. You have to produce an invoice for that customer. I'll go back to that in a second. So that's invoice details. VAT details, if you're VAT registered, this is where you enter your VAT details. Don't worry about that if you're not VAT registered right now. Cost of goods, we've got some presets for cost of goods. I won't go into all of this, we'll just take too long. If you're pan-EU or multi-country inventory, something again you probably won't be interested in or using at the start. And then this is just all the other stuff that doesn't have a category, others. So you've got your blur, which I've just set. Request a review is here. And request a review has to be set between 5 and 30 days. That's a restriction on Amazon. And Amazon will not allow you to set the request review until 5 days after the estimated delivery date. So STK has this information. STK knows when the estimated delivery date is. STK then adds whatever you got in here, 5, 6, 30 days to that, and then you will see that on your order, and it will say request a review due, and it will give the date that it's due. And when that due date comes along and it sends the request, you'll then see request review sent, and then the date and time it was sent. So it's just set it there, simple as that, and then update other settings.
I've just set mine as 5 for now. I think, you know, between 5 and 7 is a good time, just thinking about when the customer will get the product, when they would have probably opened it, it will still be fresh in their mind. So I'm leaving it at 5 for now. We'll test that.
I had one person, one of our like very long-term users, who's been updating me on every few days about how many reviews he's got, and he said I've never seen so many reviews come in. But again, it's
how many days?
Well, I don't know. It wasn't that many, to be perfectly honest. The size of account that he has, but it was a lot more than what he normally gets. So it's worked, you know. And they were good reviews as well, not bad reviews, because a lot of people tend to only review something when they've got something to complain about, don't they? Do you find that true? They tend not to review something if it was good. The amount of times me and Andrea have been away and we've been somewhere that's really nice, we should do a review. We never do, no. You know. But you know, you're more quick to act when it was bad, you know. So. You know, so these request reviews seem to be working for this guy, and he's getting good reviews. Again, it's good to have the good reviews because of your seller health, but I don't believe it makes, as I said earlier, any difference to your repricer, or sorry, the ability to win the buy box. I think that's about it. The repricer is like kind of complex to go through. There's a few videos. What I'll say as well is what you've got your support here, and we've got some tutorial videos. We've got big FAQs here, all about cost of goods. Most things are included in there. You should read those first. We've got a few videos. This guy Flair, who is a user of STK, is now doing a lot of videos for us. That's our first one we just put up.
YouTube.
Sorry, what I said? YouTube, yeah, right. So he's doing quite a lot of stuff for us at the moment. I've got a few more to put up there. Some of these are very, very old. However, they're still relevant. And they're on, like, this is STK 0. Yeah, this is 1.0, and up there is 2.0. This is something that we're working on, to add a whole fresh set of videos, tutorial videos, to help people get through, because I need to cut down the amount of people that support are asking me, you know, basic questions. It's not a problem. They're basic, they're new. I don't have a problem with helping people out whatsoever, but I just need to be able to, because they are the same questions. So, you know, the very first one, how do I get support? You know, and it has it down there, how to contact us. But, you know, to go through these first, because, you know, the Facebook group has a lot of answers. Most questions I get asked have already been asked numerous times, as you can imagine. But I don't say, just check this out or whatever. I try and give is a good answer. A lot of it is cut and paste because a lot of the questions are the same. But if ever you want support, you know, you just get in touch. It's one of my biggest jobs at the moment. It doesn't take long for me to do support, but it does take me away from doing the good stuff. But I'll once I get all the tutorial videos up, then more FAQs, that will go down. Because although I get quite a lot, I'm still only saying I've got 5 to 10 support questions a day, which isn't a lot, but it does take me away from what I should be doing. So, but I'm not saying I don't know. I'm saying I'm getting too much, but I'm not. If you need help, I'm always here. That's what I say to everyone. I am always here.
Awesome. Yeah. Cheers, Norm. So, hopefully you guys got a lot of our questions answered. For me, definitely, like, you know, if you're serious about your business and you're starting to get some sales, you want to really know what you're doing, because you don't know what you're doing properly at the moment. And it's just a bit, not even an educated guess most of the time, or it just takes you a ton of time just to go through Seller Central, which is not helpful at all. So yeah, if you're serious, you know, you got to get some sort of software like this. You got to get a repricer to start repricing your products. I mean, I'm definitely loving, you know, the new version, Norm. It's definitely a lot more intuitive, and it makes it so much easier. You don't lose where you are. You can just see where you want to see, and then you're back, you know, back on it again where you want it to be. So yeah, if anyone else got any last questions, get those in. Also, guys, I want to make you, you know, kind of a double offer as well. If you are interested or been thinking about the Navigators, then we're going to make you an offer of 50% off your first month as well, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So we'd love to serve you in the FBA Navigators as well. And if anyone wants to stick around, Tim was asking a bit about the Repricer. So if anyone wants to stick around, you know, if Norm needs to go, I can share a bit about the Repricer. It won't be for long, but I can give you a little show around. And any of you that are in the Navigators as well, you've got videos on that also, in some live sessions we've done on repricing. But yeah, really appreciate you coming on, Norm, and giving us a show around, telling us your story. And guys, take Norm up on that offer. I think it's only going to last 24 hours, right, Norm? It's
24 hours, absolutely.
Yeah. So don't hang about. If you've been thinking about it, you've got 30 days to test this out. So, you know, jump on that offer. And yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, Norm. So,
yeah, and one thing I should say as well, we've got lots of other features in the pipeline, lots of new stuff, some really cool stuff as well that will help with the repricer and help with your management of your inventory. And but I won't say too much because it's all secret stuff, secret squirrel stuff.
Amazing. Yeah, so appreciate you coming on, Norm.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Ash saying, can we get the images blurred further a bit in the sensitive information, please? Right. What do you mean on there, Ash? Blurred in like what?
So remember when you was showing your information on TikTok, when you had it all blurred out, but we could tell it was definitely a Pikachu.
Okay. Right, on some of the products, right? Yeah, that one was an obvious one because it was just a yellow Pikachu shape. But I think they are pretty good now, mate. I think. Do you think they need more blurring?
Just slightly. I mean, I
can make it more blurred. I mean, I have already made it more blurred. There's no big. I mean, it's like a 2-second job to increase the blur. If you think it's like it's not enough, there's a fine line, isn't it? If it's completely blurred, it just makes everything look a bit cramped. So
yeah, I honestly I can't make out. If you checked it again, Ash, because it is definitely more blurry now.
Yeah, I've looked at mine, but obviously I know what products I'm selling. It's just,
Exactly. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
like where there's headphones and mice and different things like that, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no,
All right.
you know, nobody's actually asked for it to be more blurry until this, so I have
It's
absolutely
Ash.
no problem.
This is
I
Ash.
have this Ash.
this is me. I've also got another one as well.
Go on.
You know, on the listing review playback feature, which showed us where you can see the where the repricer. Is there any way of seeing who's got advertisements on the products as well? Is that something you could do? No.
No. See, the information that you get for a listing is very limited. It doesn't say anything about repricer. That's an algo I've put together to recognize that there's a repricer at play here. You just get, seriously, has the offer got a buy box? Yes or no? Is it featured? Meaning, is it eligible for a buy box or not? The price, the shipping, and the feedback. That's it. That's all you get to work with. Yeah. So a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to reprice based on stock because they've got more stock or less stock," and whether that's even a thing, whether people have got more stock or less stock than you, possibly it might be a decision if you've got the same price. Yeah. But Amazon don't give that information. Yeah. So we can only work on price, essentially.
Yeah, I was looking at one of my listings the other day, and I'm selling £15 over the lowest price. But I've looked at that listing, and it's showing that none of them have got repricers, and I'm obviously using Repricer. But there's no it's all suppressed listings, but I have got ads on my product. But like when I'm selling £15 over the lowest price, it's just good to see what kind of competition are doing in that sort of sense.
Right. So you're using Amazon PPC, right, for this, right?
Yeah, just a small ad campaign.
And it's a suppressed listing. Okay, all right. Because I don't know how. I'm pretty sure the PPC is still the same on Amazon, but the PPC would only start charging you if you were featured, if you were the buy box winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be active. You wouldn't be getting charged if you were not. The fact that it's a suppressed listing, maybe it works differently. Yeah. If there's no buy box, maybe the advertising works. But yeah, look into that because. I used to use PPC when I was first selling, but I never found if I turned it off or turned it on for a week or what, I never found it made that much difference on retail. I can see how it would work on private label, or certain listings that it's just you for whatever reason. Then you want people to come in to get yours over another ASIN because you've got lots of ASINs. If you're private label, which is selling the same thing but a different ASINs, then you want, I can see a reason for PPC for PL. But yeah, I would suggest try and do A/B. My A/B test would be off or on for a week to see if it makes much difference because you could be paying a lot of money in PPC unnecessarily. That's what I found, but I'm then going back a few years.
Yeah, it's just weird because there's like 20 sellers on the listing, and I think I'm something like 16th lowest price, and I'm making regular sales. And
it has to be down to the PPC, doesn't it? It really has to be down to that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, if anyone wants to hang about for 10 minutes or so, I can just go a little bit on the Repricer. We go over more of that in the FBA Navigators. But yeah, Norm, really appreciate you coming on and everyone else as well. So thanks very much. And yeah, take Norm up on that offer. 24 hours. So yeah,
It seems I'm actually Tim's dad.
Yeah. Cheers, Dad. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot,
Awesome.
guys. It was a pleasure. Really
Yeah,
good.
cheers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
See ya.
I'll speak to you later.
All right,
See you
Cheers,
later,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye-bye.
That was the STK 2.0 live webinar with Norm from Seller Toolkit. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, what did you think about that? Did it highlight anything? Did it surprise you? And is there anything in your own business that maybe you're not quite tracking properly yet? Let's get those comments down below. The reality is, in your business, if you want to scale and you want to scale properly, you do need to understand your numbers. I mean, otherwise, like, you're just guessing, right? If you're interested in more live sessions like this, then make sure you check out the link down below and get into the FBA Navigator community. Totally free. This is where we discuss all things Amazon, answer your questions, and run more sessions like this. So you're going to want to get involved. You'll find a link to join down in the description along with the current Seller Toolkit offer. And if you found this helpful, please help us out. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.